Fethullah Gulen has been very powerful in encouraging, inspiring people to come together and talk about their differences, embrace each other's differences even, while at the same time feeling strong in their own beliefs and their own traditions. But not in a way. I'm Senator Steve Farley. I represent Tucson in Arizona. And I'm also a public artist. I'm somebody who's run my own graphic design business for the last 24 years, so I'm a businessman as well. I took a Turkey trip quite a few years ago that was sponsored by some people of the Hizmet movement. And I really got to see Turkey as a place that was unique in the world, a place that was an honest broker between the Arab world, the Muslim world, the Christian world, the Jewish world, and really brought a lot of different people together. And I was very impressed by the way that the members of this movement were able to articulate their vision of having world peace through education and through dialogue. And I think that's something that a lot of different countries could learn from. I think it's a very healthy thing for the world to have right now. The people who are in the Hizmet movement are great ambassadors for Turkey. They're also great ambassadors for humanity in general. The folks I've met have been so warm, so friendly, and so accepting of all different religions and beliefs. And they really are the type of people we need more of right now. Folks who are understanding that the more we can educate the world, the more peace we're going to get in the world. Well, Mr. Gulen is clearly an amazing visionary and someone who, as a philosopher, has a tremendous amount of real guts as well. He's not just in the theoretical world, he's in the real world, the practical world, in which he talks about the importance of humans learning and about how the world really works and really talking with one another instead of just going to war with one another. His understanding and empowering of people is a wonderful thing, and I think really will help us all come together and be able to survive this century instead of tearing each other apart the way that some people would like us to do. I think, as I had mentioned, Fethullah Gulen has been very powerful in encouraging, inspiring people to come together and talk about their differences, embrace each other's differences even, while at the same time feeling strong in their own beliefs and their own traditions. And that's how we come together as a very diverse globe into one that feels like we are a common humanity. The efforts of going out to schools all over the world in all these different countries, I believe it's 132 different countries, is a very powerful way of bonding people together through learning. And that's truly an inspiration of Mr. Gulen. I think in this country we've had a lot of difficulties in which some Americans believe that Muslims are terrorists. And after 9/11, that seemed to underline that supposed fact to these people, when in truth, Islam is a very peaceful religion and about the surrender to the higher power. And I think when you see the people and meet the people who are Muslims in the Gulen movement, you get a totally different feeling about what Islam could be. Now, I spent a year in Egypt when I was in college, and I learned very much about Islam, and I learned about people who are Muslims and how much hospitality and warmth and love that came from that religion as well. So I knew differently, but for most Americans, it's people who are Muslim are the other. And I think the people through the Hizmet movement are breaking through that prejudice and getting people to understand that Muslims are warm, welcoming people, and it isn't about terrorism. Well, I'm no expert at the Hizmet movement. I just know what I've seen. And what I've seen in the Hizmet movement is people who really are dedicated towards showing hospitality to others, towards understanding others' perspectives, towards expressing their own perspective, but not in a way that's threatening, in a way that's welcoming. And that engagement on a very deep level in every culture in which the Hizmet movement engages, and there's so many countries in which it does, that seems to set it apart from other movements. It's not just, hi, here we are, and this is what we're about. It's, hi, here we are, and we want to hear what you're about. And that's a powerful difference. When you come and show someone respect by wanting to understand them and hear from them what their priorities are, what their traditions are, what their culture is, that really opens up a conversation instead of simply a one-sided, here's who we are, and here's why we want to be here. So that's powerful. As I'd mentioned previously, Islam has a PR problem with many people in the West. Some of the West has focused mostly on Islam when you see terrorist acts, whether it's the attack on Charlie Hebdo or the Boston Marathon bombing, the 9/11 bombings, and the planes. It's crucial that Islam find a way of breaking through all of that bad publicity by a few bad actors and get an understanding to the world that Islam is actually a peaceful religion that is very closely related to Christianity and Judaism. And I think the Hizmet movement does a great job at being able to reach out and demonstrate the connections between all of the Abrahamic religions, as well as demonstrating what amazing people Muslims can be, and in the most of the world really are. And Americans need to hear that in particular. I think many Westerners need to hear that, and they need to experience it. And that's the other part of the Hizmet movement, is that you don't just sit there in Turkey and say, this is who we are, you should come and pay attention to us. You go out to the rest of the world and say, this is what Islam is, this is what Islam can be, and we can be a powerful force for peace. And that's very different from what some Westerners think. In world history, we've had way too many wars fought over religion. And it's ironic because most of the major world religions talk about the importance of peace. The Hizmet movement in particular has dialogues over our differences and our similarities when it comes to religions. And that's a much healthier way and a much more consistent way of getting people to understand their differences. If you talk about what you have in common, what you have difference, and then really seek to understand each other, you're going to be a lot less likely to go to war in the name of your individual God, and more likely to see the God that we all have in common, regardless of what a religion might be. I think it's fairly well known by people that if you don't understand someone, you're more likely to fear and even hate that person. And that is really the basis of wars and conflict in many ways. If you don't like someone, if you fear someone, you might be more willing to kill them. When you learn understanding, when you get educated about many different people other than your own, when you're in a classroom with a lot of different people from different cultures, and you get to know them as people, you're a lot less likely to have conflict. So I think that type of education the Hizmet movement has been spreading throughout the world is really a crucial foundation in building world peace, something so desperately needed by everyone in the world. We have a lot of challenges in the world. There's no need for us to make the challenges worse by going into conflicts with each other. I have visited Hizmet schools all over the world, and it's always impressed me the high quality of their education and how much dedication that the teachers and the administrators show towards educating the whole student. They really are focused on making it as good of an experience as possible for the students, and they really encourage the diversity within the schools so that each student has a sense that they are a member of the world not just a member of their individual country. But at the same time, these schools put a lot of emphasis on the individuality of the country so that they blend in very well, and they emphasize the importance of being a member of that country as well. So it's a really interesting blend. It encourages people to have pride in who they are, no matter who they are, but not to express that pride in conflict, but to express that pride in dialogue. And that's very powerful. Hizmet's charity activities are great in that they focus on what the real problems are in each one of the countries in which it operates, and they operate all over the world. And then really figures out very selflessly what can they do to solve that problem. Not what can we gain from it, but what can we give to the community? How can we make this community a better, healthier place? And that's a powerful thing to do in a lot of countries, because ultimately it makes the world a better, healthier place. I've met many members of the Hizmet movement all over the world, and I don't see any basis to any criticism that I have heard about Hizmet. The people of the Hizmet movement are selfless. They aren't doing this for any ulterior motive. They simply want to make the world a better place to live. And they want to solve conflict, they want to have dialogue, and they really understand that education is the key to all of these things, and including world peace in general. So if these folks in the Hizmet movement are too good to be true, then I'd like a whole lot more people to be like them. I visited various Hizmet-associated businesses and schools in Thailand and Vietnam, and I was impressed by how much they were creating their own good for society, even outside of the education structure. Obviously, the schools were educating, that's their main focus, but these businesses were doing what they could to build a business in a way that would bind the global economy together. And they were so open for me as an American to come in and talk with them about their business, and potentially invited them to Arizona, and they may actually do business in Arizona in the future as well. So another way besides education that we can bind the world together is through business connections, and I think that's another important way that we can minimize conflict and create more world peace. I have been to Turkey several times, and I was always very impressed with what great representatives of Turkey the people I met from the Hizmet movement were. They really got me thinking about what a great place Turkey is and what a unique place Turkey is in the world to be able to bring people together on all sides. And that was really brought about by many of the people in the Hizmet movement. And I really felt their patriotism for Turkey. They talked a lot about Ataturk and his importance in bringing a modern Turkey into place. And they had a great pride for their country and their nation. And I think that's an important thing to recognize for those people who may be concerned that the Hizmet movement isn't sufficiently Turkish. I saw it was very clear that this was a Turkish-based movement that showed the best of what Turkey is.
Certainly, especially in contemporary times, certainly the Hizmet movement gives people the correct, the true version of Islam.
I look at Hizmet as a spiritually based movement where people are motivated to serve mankind for the better glory of mankind and of God.